Gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting video. Today we're going to do one of the most mundane of tasks when owning any vehicle. We're going to change the oil. There's that drain plug at. Yeah, there we go. We're going to change the oil. Here's the things you're going to need today. Drain pan. You can use your wife's fine china if you want. Just make sure it holds a quart. You're going to need a ratchet. Any brand will do. An extension. A 12 millimeter socket. That's for the drain plug. And if you're pulling the screen off, you don't have to every single time. You're going to need a socket for that. That's going to be 17 millimeters. Now, when talking about the screen, that's the oil screen that's on the other side over there. You don't have to pull it during every oil change. It's not a bad thing to do it, but you don't have to. But I am going to show you how to do it today because I changed the oil at 1 mile to a high zinc content break-in oil. Changed to get it at 100 miles. It's at about 250 now, so really not necessary to do another oil change, but I'm going to do one just for the video. Other things you're going to need. Oil, 10W30. Get the stuff for motorcycles. It does make a difference. Rag never hurts. Gloves are also good. And I reached into my junk drawer knowing that I had the final component to this. Knew that I had it. Just knew. I bought 50, 60 of them. I don't know, probably in the last couple years. And lo and behold, it wasn't there. So I went tearing through the house looking for what I needed. Couldn't find it. Because I refuse to go to the usual suspects that sell you bullet hole stickers and Betty Boop seat covers for your mom's clapped out Intrepid just to spend more money on pieces of plastic. But long story short, go to O'Reilly Auto Parts or AutoZone and buy a funnel if you don't have one. Long neck, small hole, that's what you're going to need. And if you're worried about torque specs, there is actual torque specs for drain plugs and other things. Well, get yourself a torque wrench. If not, just be careful. The bolt will let you know when to stop. Don't overturn it. If you overturn a drain plug, yeah, good luck. So I'm going to pause this, set up the camera so you can get a better angle. I'll be right back. So what are the first steps to doing an oil change? Well, first things first, run the vehicle, check your oil level, make sure you're good. Run it for about 5 minutes, let it get warm. You don't have to, run laps with it or anything like that. Just ride it down the road or let it sit in idle for about 5 minutes. Then you're going to let it sit for another 5 minutes and let all the oil settle back down. Why are we doing that? Well, we want the oil to move out, so we need it warm. That's going to help it move out of there. But we need it all down in the bottom so we can make sure we get all the old stuff out and we don't end up inadvertently overfilling somehow. So we let it sit for about 5 minutes. You see the balance there? Alright, so you're going to take your ratchet with your 12 millimeter, line it up on the bolt, give it a little bit of a turn. That's all she needed. Reach in. Always do this with your hand, not with the tool. Alright, we're going to pull the dipstick out. Why do you do this? Well, you're opening it up. You don't pull this dipstick out, you're going to be here a long time. Alright, let's get you back where you can see. Excuse me if the volume's loud, this thing is right in my face. And I'm going to block the camera with my arm while I pull that cap out of the drain pan. Alright, let her drain out. Actually looks pretty decent. Alright, so there is a washer on your drain plug. Make sure it's still there. It shouldn't come off. I can't imagine how it would, but I've seen stranger things happen. Set this to the side. Don't lose it. We're going to let this drain out. It's going to take a while. And so I'm going to pause the video here, and I'll be back when we're almost ready. Okay, while the oil's draining out, we're going to come around to the other side. Under your CVT cover, located right under those brake lines, you're going to see there's your screen right there. 17 millimeter. So we're going to wrench this guy off real quick. Make sure I can get the camera where you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. Alright, take your ratchet. Put it on there. Give it a twist. And again, do the rest by hand. You really don't want to screw around with this guy too much because there is an O-ring in it. Yeah. I say do the rest by hand. We'll do it with an extension. Now, this guy's got a spring in it, so come out kind of slow with it. Yeah, just like that. Let her down slow. There we go. And there's the screen. Come on. Piece of trash. Get out of there. There we go. Alright, so there's some filth on this screen. And a lot of it, I believe. Wow, it looks like cat hair. That's weird. And there's some metal flakes in there. Some paint. Oh, that's not metal. That's silicone. Okay. I guess there's some part of the assembly process that required them to put silicone on this, but I can't imagine what. So I'm a little baffled as where the yellow paint came from. Either way, we're going to clean this. How do you clean this? Well, you could use parts cleaner. You can use brake cleaner. But bear in mind, this guy's made out of, appears to be nylon or plastic. Those chemicals are pretty harsh. A lot of times they'll eat that plastic to pieces. And I have seen a couple guys change their oil that did a big no-no. Real big no-no. I'm going to tell you what that no-no is. The cap for your screen has an O-ring in it. Don't spray brake cleaner at this. For the love of God, don't spray anything harsh on an O-ring. You're going to dry it out. It'll crack. It'll leak. Technically, you're supposed to replace this O-ring each time, but this one looks pretty good. So what we are going to do is set this aside, take a little fresh oil, rub it around the O-ring really, really lightly. That's all you got to do. This guy, well, I'm going to take some fresh gasoline, swig, 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 just like that, and that's going to be it. Be right back. All right, we're back. It's all right. Laying on the ground's hard for old guys. All right, clean this guy off with a little fresh gas. You don't really need to take a brush to it or anything like that. Just rinse it through. Take some compressed air, let it dry for a second. Take a little compressed air, blow through it, blow around it. Let it sit and dry off though. No matter what you clean it with, let it evaporate. All right. Take a little bit of the fresh stuff and grease up that O-ring. There you go. Don't need a lot. The main purpose is to lube this guy up so it doesn't dry out, and so when you do torque it back down there, if it's dry, it's more likely to tear. It's got a little oil on it. Probably not going to happen to you. Alright, so let's reassemble all this. Stick it in there. Maybe it'd be better to put the strainer in first. Sorry, you guys can watch me fumble around with this. That's fine, I don't have any shame. Alright, slide the spring over it. Let's make sure we don't dent it up. And take the cap. Get that spring centered up in there. Push it on. And give it a couple twists. Make sure it's going on there. Take extension. And as always, run it back a little. Make sure you're not cross-threading anything. Run it up by hand, just get it snug. Just for now. Alright. Now, I am actually going to torque this. There's a lot of things that I'll just run up with an impact or put Gorilla Strength behind and let it be, but things that have anything to do with the block, I've torqued those things up. Alright, so this guy's 14 foot-pounds. So the torque wrench is going in the right direction. That'd probably help. Stop when you hear the click. That's it. Alright, come back. Give it one more. That's it. That's all she needs. You really don't want to over torque that because it does have an O-ring in it. You over torque it, you might not get it back out so easy. And you might tear that O-ring. Either one of those is going to be a bad day. Alright, be right back. We're going to switch to the other side. Alright, so we come back to the other side. It stopped dripping. Do you have to get every single little drop out? No. That's not likely to ever happen for you. Take your rag. Clean it up. Take your drain plug. Same thing as always. Back it up a few as you run it in. Always back it up a little bit and make sure you're not cross-threading it. Same as the other side. We are going to properly torque this down. This, 18 foot-pounds. If you're in the metric, I believe that's 24 Newton meters. Don't quote me on that. High school was a long time ago. Alright, so once you have your torque wrench set and put the right socket on it, jeez. We're going to run this up, same deal as the other side. Stop when you hear the click. Back it up, give it a little, there we go. Now with that, I'm not over tightening, I'm just making sure the torque wrench actually clicked. Make sure you're not continuing to bear down on it and pushing forward. Alright, so let me reset for a better camera angle. Be right back. And we're back. Sorry for the pause. Quick side note, For people that aren't used to torque wrenches, very important thing to do. Set it back to 0 before you put it in the case. Just remember that. Alright, so final step. Drain plugs in, strainer's in on the other side. Let's make sure we did that, and we did. Alright, so oil capacity. If you don't do this strainer, it's going to be a little bit less oil that you need to add. It should be right under 0.8 of a quart. If you clean the strainer, you're going to need a little bit more, a little over 0.8 quarts. Important thing, don't overfill it. You're actually normally better off underfilling just slightly than ever overfilling. One, it's easier to add than it is to take away, and two, overfilled engines tend to fail real easy. So let me slip around here. Forward and slow. Yeah, make sure your funnel's clean. Make sure you get motor oil on your lips when you blow the funnel out. Like a total goof. Alright. So you guys, not really a view where you're going to be able to see the funnel and everything, but just trust me, I'm pouring oil in here. Add it nice and slow. I'm not going to make you watch me pour oil into a crankcase. We'll pause and come back. Alright. Good thing I looked at the dipstick. I might have told you guys a little bit of a fib. So the only service manual I can find is the one for the Indian version of the bike. It's probably still true. However, I looked at the dipstick. It says after draining 0.7 liters. So yeah, that's probably about roughly the same. Pretty close. So how do you tell when you got enough oil in there? Well, let's see, your quart has one of these little gauges on the side. Start slowing down when you get down to 300 milliliters. Alright. Let it sit for about a minute. Let everything settle that got sloshed around in there. Take your dipstick, clean it, wipe it down, stick it in there. Don't thread it up, just set it flush. Alright, pour it right out and check it. So it should be on the hashes. So the top of the hashes is full. If it's in that bottom last hash, you definitely got too little. If you get all the way up to the top hash, you're still probably fine. Just make sure you don't put any more in there. Now with any oil change, it's good manners to take it down the road, check it out, make sure everything's skookum and you're good. Let it sit for another 5 minutes, cool down, check your oil level again. Just make sure. But I promise you, if you got at least 2/3 of this dipstick covered with on the hash marks, you're fine to go drive it around. Alright, so thread it up. Don't wrench it down tight, just get it snug. And that's it, fellas. Not much to it. Pretty simple process. Just make sure that you do the environmentally friendly thing and the socially responsible thing and the morally correct thing, and dispose of your oil properly. Could be different state to state, but generally it's free. Cost you nothing other than just driving it down the road. O'Reilly's, Advanced Auto Parts, AutoZone. I don't think Pep Boys exist anymore. I'm not sure. Most Napas, they'll take it for you. I used to work at O'Reilly's when I was a kid. People brought it in all the time. We had a huge drum in the back to dump the stuff in, and we had a company come and recycle it. But do the right thing. Don't pour it down a storm drain. Don't pour it on a sea turtle and let them take it out to sea. You know, don't pour it in the grass to kill fire ants. Don't do anything stupid like that. Take it where it needs to be. All right, fellas. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Check out the links. I've got merch now. And see you later.